Good afternoon and welcome to each and everyone who have joined us on this Central Wellbeing Masterclass. And we are very honored to be able to host this in a brand experiential platform that gives you the experience of being in an auditorium and listening to the speaker. I, Sachu Ramalingam, take the honor and the pleasure in inviting and welcoming each and every one of you who have joined us in the Lighthouse Learning Endeavor, which is again brought to you by Center of Wellbeing, which takes care of the mental health, physical health, and also the inclusion aspect in all our brand schools. You would also get to see the brands that we host from Lighthouse Learning, the Euro Schools, the Billabong High International School, the Cambridge Public School, and the CPS School from Bangalore. Welcome to everyone out there. And today's program is dedicated to girls. Yes, because we are close to the Women's Day, and of course, we are going to have more topics focused on girls towards the Women's Day, which comes in March. But we thought let's start a month ahead, and so we thought about a very important and less talked about topic, and that is menstrual cycle management. And these days, because of the hormonal changes and the kind of exposure that we have to food that enhance and kind of fast forwards the time to which girls are attaining puberty, we have also realized that children are attaining puberty and getting their first menstrual cycle, their periods, as it is commonly called, somewhere even in third standard and fourth standard. So we have included all you girls today for this wonderful 1 hour of a download from an expert doctor. We have Dr. Aparna Padgaonkar, who is a gynecologist and an obstetrician with us, who has more than 30 years of practice. And she is a hardcore Rotarian, the first woman Rotary president of the Rotary Club of Mumbai Mulund South in her year as she wore her cap of a Rotary women president. She was known for the women empowerment program that she carries forward year after year, ever since. And she has been very passionate about empowering girls and talking openly about how to manage the hygiene, and also how do we manage the pre-preparation, and the phases that a girl goes through menstruation, and also what are the hygiene and how do we manage the cycle of her periods that happen. Of course, I'm not going to encroach into her formal introduction, but all of you who have joined us are clear on the agenda for the next 1 hour. We are going to be, what do you say, deconstructing and illuminating ourselves on menstrual cycle management. Without much ado, I request Ms. Pooja Devke to do the formal introduction of Dr. Aparna Padgaonkar.
Thank you, Ms. Sachu. I, Pooja Devke, welcomes you all to this webinar, Managing Menstrual Cycle by Dr. Aparna Padgaonkar. It's a privilege to introduce Dr. Aparna Padgaonkar. She's an obstetrician and gynecologist. She has been practicing since last 30 years at her own hospital named Aparna Hospital at Mulund. She's a consultant at Shreyas Fertility Center, Fortis Hospital Mulund, and Jupiter Hospital Thane. She has her clinic for girls and adolescents named as Growing Girls Clinic at Aparna Hospital. She is affiliated to various societies connected to her profession, like the Federation of Obstetrics and Gynecology Societies of India and Mumbai Obstetrics and Gynecological Societies, etc. She loves working with girls and educating them about menstruation and reproductive health. She was the first lady president of Rotary Club of Mumbai, Mulund South in 2019 and 2020. During her tenure, she has worked towards educating and looking after the health of women and children. So it's a privilege to have you here, Dr. Aparna Padgaonkar, and thank you for taking out the time for us today. So over to you, Dr. Aparna.
Thank you so much, Pooja ma'am and Sachu, for inviting me today for Lighthouse Learning. Good afternoon, girls. It's a pleasure to always interact with girls and teach you about a very important topic, menstruation and menstrual hygiene. Can I start my screen sharing?
Yeah, you can go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Can everyone see my screen? Am I audible?
Yes, doctor.
Pooja, yeah. Can I start my presentation?
Yes.
Okay. So once again, good afternoon, girls. Periods, blood, menstruation, secret, hidden. Why? A natural biological process that every girl and woman goes through every month for more than half of her life. A phenomena that is so significant that the survival and propagation of our species depend on it. Yet, we consider it a taboo. We feel awkward and shameful talking about it. So, girls, today, let's talk periods. Getting your periods is one of the signs that your girls are growing up, blossoming into young ladies, attaining puberty. What are the changes which happens in your body when you attain puberty? As you can see, your skin gets oilier, your breasts start to develop, you can find hair under your arms, your hip bones become wider, you put on weight on your hips, your leg muscles get bigger and stronger, and pubic hairs are also seen. So these changes occur right starting from the age of 8 years to approximately 16 years of age. So what are the changes which happen? Breast buds are usually first to develop. A small, what is a breast bud? What do you mean by a breast bud? It's a small hard lump behind one or both the nipples. Usually from the age of 9 to 15, the breasts
Dr.
height
Aparna,
and weight continue to increase.
Dr. Aparna, can I
Vaginal
just
discharge may start for some girls, and then your period begins. The first period is also called as menarche.
Dr. Aparna, you're able to hear me?
Usually starts between the age of
क्या
10
problem
to
है?
16 years. You may get a regular period
जब तक landline टूटी ना network नहीं है.
every month, or you may get irregular cycles, maybe every 2 monthly or irregular cycles. Yes.
Is it connecting on Wi-Fi for you? Connect on Wi-Fi or connecting?
Yeah.
Dr. Aparna, there's a network issue. Just hold. I'll tell you when to start because there's a problem. We might have to start again. Just hold 1 minute. Huh? There's a network problem. Just hold. Pooja, Dr. Aparna is there?
I can't see her. No, she's not there.
Has Dr. Aparna joined?
Yes, now she's in the waiting room. Just admit it.
Okay. Can you see me and hear me now again?
Yeah, I can see you, but just hold. I'll just give you a start. We'll have to start from the beginning. I think it's. Can you check with the error? Is it loading now, Jayshri? The phone also.
No, this one.
Hmm. Dr. Aparna, you can take over.
वर्षा में तो चाहिए सब है ना
No.
ये लिफ्ट से काम करते हैं
Yeah, we can see you.
Okay, can you hear me also?
Yes, yes, we can.
So you want me to start all over again?
Yes, doctor.
Okay, fine. So good afternoon again. Thank you, Sachu, for inviting me to give you a talk on a very important topic. Periods, blood, menstruation, secret, hidden, why? A natural biological process that every girl and woman goes through every month for more than half her life. A phenomena that is so significant that the survival and propagation of our species depends on it. Yet we consider it a taboo. We feel awkward and shameful talking about it. So, girls, today let's talk periods. Getting your periods is one of the signs that you girls are growing up, blossoming into young girls, attaining to puberty. So, what are the other changes which happens in your body? Your whole body gets curvier, skin gets oilier, breasts start to develop. You can see hair under your arms, hip bones become wider, you put on weight on your hips, the leg muscles get bigger and stronger, and pubic hairs are also seen. So all these changes usually starts from the age of 8 to 9 years and continues till at least about 15 years of age. So what are the changes which happen? The breast development is the first thing which happens, and what is called as a breast bud usually develop first. It's a small hard lump which is seen behind one or both the nipples. And usually from the age of 9 to 15, as you can see in the chart, the growth spurt occurs, and along with the growth spurt, what happens is the first period is seen, which is called as a menarche. So usually menarche happens at approximately between the age of 10 to 16 years. And initially, when you start getting your periods, you may get a regular period, which happens every 30 days, or you may get an irregular cycle. Nowadays, we see some girls getting your menarche or the first period pretty early, even in the age of 8 to 9 years. This may be related to better nutrition or obesity. Now, to understand why you bleed from the uterus, why do you get periods every month? Let us first understand what do you mean by the reproductive system. I hope everybody can see the diagram. As you can see in the diagram, this is the uterus, and on two sides, there are something called as fallopian tubes, and there's something called ovaries on either side next to the fallopian tube. This is one ovary, and this is the second ovary. This is the uterus, and these are the two fallopian tubes. So every month, because of hormonal changes, one egg, or what we call as a follicle, grows into the ovary. It reaches a proper size, and when it ruptures, it comes from into the tube and comes into the uterus. If there is along with the growth of the egg, the lining of the uterus, which you can see this is called as the endometrium, also grows in size. If there is no pregnancy, the lining of the uterus is shed, and this is what is called as a period. So a period contains blood, and the lining of the uterus, which you can all see in the diagram, is the shedding of the blood along with the lining, which is called as the endometrium, which happens during the periods. Now, why does it happen? What do you mean by a menstrual cycle? As I told you in the previous slide, that one egg or one follicle grows. Now, when it grows, there are two hormones which come into the picture, which is called as an estrogen and a progesterone hormone. So the first half of the period, when the estrogen hormone increases and followed by the next hormone which comes into the picture, is called progesterone. So when the levels of these hormones increase, you don't get your periods. And when they decrease, the levels go down, you get a period. So this happens every month in a cyclical way, and that is why it is called as a menstrual cycle. Okay, so there's the same thing which I'm telling you. I've told you the follicular growth. So as the egg grows, as you can see in the slide, along with this, there is a changes in the hormonal quantity, and that is a reason which causes a hormonal changes and causes a period, which starts the day 1 to the day 28 of the period, is called as a menstrual cycle. Some girls do not get it regularly every 28 days. For some, it is a short cycle which happens every 20-25 days. And for some girls, it may happen even after 40 to 45 days. But that is fine. Menstrual cycle usually varies between 20-25 days to 40 days during a normal menstrual cycle. So let's go about the 5 P's of periods. Now, what do you mean the 5 P's of periods? First is the product. The second P is the palms. The third P is the pain. Fourth is paper. And 5 is the period between your periods. So let's talk about the products. Now, what do these products do? This is just a mechanism or way of collecting the blood. These products do not stop your period from coming in. It does not stop the hormonal changes. You will get your hormonal changes in your body. You will bleed from the uterus, but the blood gets collected into these products so that you don't stain your underclothes and your clothes. So let's go to the first product. I think everybody knows the first product. This is a sanitary napkin, as you can see in this slide. And then on the two sides of the sanitary napkins are the wings, which are called with other wings. So these wings are attached to your underwear and they get folded below the underwear. So this is a sanitary napkin which can be used as a product to collect the blood. This is the most commonly used product, and I'm sure everybody knows about the leading market brands like Steffi, Whisper. But these products are not biodegradable. They are harmful to the environment. They take years and years to degrade. So nowadays, people have come out with other products which are called as reusable sanitary napkins. In the olden days, the girls and the women used to use a cloth instead of using a sanitary napkins to collect the flow. So the girls are coming back to the olden days, but not using a dirty cloth which was used below. These are called as reusable sanitary napkins, which are made of cloth, and they are highly absorbent, and they have a button which can go like a wings of a regular pad, which can be fitted under your underwear. So, for example, plus if girls want to use pads, there are pads which are also available, something like this. I hope everybody can see it. So this is a cloth which can fit into your sanitary the cover and gets fitted under your pad, under your underwear. So this is also a way of collecting blood. So these are reusable pads. They have to be washed and you can use them again and again. And this is better for the environment. It comes in a reusable storage pouch, which you can use during the next period. But these reusable sanitary napkins you have to take care of this cloth when you are using a reusable sanitary napkin. Always wash your hands with soap and water. You remove the washcloth, clean it well, and dry it in sunlight. This will help in killing the harmful bacteria and prevent infection. And every time you should use a new cloth. Wash your body daily during your period with clean water and use a new cloth. And after your menstrual cycle is over, you can keep this cloth in the bag which is provided by you in a clean place. There is a new thing which has come up right now, which the girls and the young girls and the teenagers are not using it, but the women are using what is called as a menstrual cup. A menstrual cup is one more way of collecting the blood flow. So this is like a cup. Can everybody see? This is a cup which is used to collect the menstrual blood flow. This is the rim of the cup. This measures how much of is a menstrual flow. This is the base of the cup, and this is a stem. This is a very easy method of putting it. You fold the cup and it goes into your vagina. Girls less than 15 years of age do not use a menstrual cup because they find it difficult to put it in. But you get a very small size available for younger girls. This diagram shows how the menstrual cup is fitted. It's fitted below the cervix and it just collects the menstrual blood. So you have to take it out every 4 to 6 hours and empty it into the toilet, and you can reuse a menstrual cup. One menstrual cup can work for 5 years. So it is good for your environment, and you do not need to use pads. I hope everybody has understood the different products which are available. Now let's go to the next P of our 5 Ps. The next P is your palms. Washing your palms and your hands for 20 seconds every time you go to the toilet, every time you want to change your pad, every time you finish changing your pad. It is very important to wash your hands and maintain hand hygiene to prevent infections. I'm sure everybody knows how to perform hand hygiene. Thanks to COVID, everybody has a method of washing your hands. You should be washing your palms. You should be washing the dorsum of your palms. You should be washing it between your fingers, and you should be washing around your thumb. So this is the way to show how to perform the hand hygiene. Maintaining high hygiene is very important during your periods. And please see that you always keep your hands clean and dry before and after changing your pads. The next P of our 5 Ps is paper. How do you dispose a sanitary napkin? It is better to wrap it in a paper, a newspaper, or you get a paper bag where you can dispose the sanitary napkin. Just don't throw the entire napkin. If you're using you're not using a reusable one, just don't throw it inside a paper and throw it in the dustbin. You have to fold the napkin. If this is a napkin, you will have to fold it into a smaller bunch and then put it in a paper, wrap it well, and throw it into the dustbin, and do not throw the napkin into the toilet. Okay, so this is a way of disposing a non-reusable sanitary napkin. But before and after discarding the napkin, please remember the second P is washing your palms and washing your hands and maintaining hand hygiene while disposing of. Now let's come to the next P, pain during periods. Some girls experience a lot of pain during periods. They're very much troubled. They cannot get up. They cannot go to school. They feel like lying down the whole day. So what can be done for getting rid of the pain? And why do you get pain? Why do you get pain during periods? Now, as I told you, the blood is collected into the uterus and it flows out from the uterus through the opening. So when the uterus tries to push the blood out, it contracts. And when it contracts, you may get a bit of pain. So what do you do for it? You can massage your tummy. You can take a warm bath, use a heating pad, drink a lot of water, see that you maintain a healthy diet. And if your pain is not get relieved by the usual methods, please consult a doctor and she or he may give you pain relieving tablets. A very important part of the relieving pain during periods is exercise. Exercise is something which should be done before your periods and to be continued during your periods. And why do we need to exercise during periods? Because it relieves your PMS symptoms, it improves blood circulation, reduces bloating, lessens your cravings, decreases episodes of anxiety, and elevates your mood. You feel better. It releases something called endorphin. So every time you exercise, you go for a walk in the morning, you will feel better. Even when you are playing in school, you feel better. So exercise can be done during periods. It does not need to be stopped during the periods. And the amount of blood flow does not increase in exercise. It's a wrong notion. Please do not listen to it. You can continue doing whatever you want to. Yoga is one thing which is recommended during your periods. As you can see in the slide, there are different poses which are recommended. And all these poses help in relieving even your pain because it helps in increasing your blood circulation to your pelvic area and decreasing your pain. So we've spoken about pain, we've spoken about management of pain. Now let's talk about the period between the periods. There is something called as premenstrual period. So some girls between approximately from the day 15 of your menstrual cycle till you get your periods are very cranky, they're very irritable, they feel unwell, their breasts are tender, they have mood swings, they have fatigue, you have suddenly food cravings, you feel like eating a lot of sweets, and you don't want to go to school, you just want to lie down, don't want to talk to anybody. But then this is something which is called as a premenstrual syndrome or PMS. Now, why does it happen? As you must have seen in the previous slides, I told you there are two hormones which come into circulation, the estrogen hormone and your progesterone hormone. When the second half of the cycle, the progesterone hormone, when it comes into circulation, it may cause the symptom of PMS. For some girls, they may not have any problems, but some girls are very miserable because of this. So they can have acne, they can have bloating, they can have breast tenderness, swelling in hands or feet. All your clothes suddenly before your period start feeling tired, you may struggle to get into your jeans. And once you get your period, you feel like you want to buy a new pair. You've put on weight, but the moment you get your periods, you feel fit into your jeans again. So all this can happen before your period, which is called as a premenstrual syndrome. What do you do about it? How can you help in relieving of premenstrual syndrome? There are a lot of exercises is one thing. Other methods are also there. A good diet. Exercise is a mainstay of every part of your cycle. Even when you get before your periods, when you have PMS, and when during your periods, exercise, good diet, and a lifestyle change is one thing which should be followed throughout your life. It's not only during your periods. Nutrition supplements are given during for PMS. hormones are not given unless you have very bad PMS, but hormones can be given only by the gynecologist. Please do not take it just by going to your general practitioner and taking a hormonal treatment for your PMS. Please consult a gynae before taking all these medications. So girls, don't let your menstrual problems get you down. Eat healthy, exercise, eat more ginger. Ginger is known to help you. Take vitamins and use essential oils. Now let's go to a very important topic. Now you've understood what periods are, what is menstruation. Let's go to a very important topic about menstrual hygiene. I'm sure everybody has seen the movie Padman, and talking about menstruation and menstrual hygiene, Akshay Kumar has really brought out the topic of menstrual hygiene and the importance of pads, so that it is important to use all this to prevent infections, reproductive tract infections, and problems which cause because of reproductive tract infections. So what do you mean by menstrual hygiene? What is menstrual hygiene management? Women and girls have clean material to absorb or collect menstrual blood. The material can be changed in privacy and as often as necessary for the duration of menstruation. Soap and water can be used for washing the body and any stained clothes as required. Access to facilities for disposing or used menstrual management materials. So this is what is meant by menstrual hygiene. So all these things are important. And why is menstrual hygiene very important? Poor menstrual hygiene keeps girls in school and on some educational pace as male peers. Reusable menstrual hygiene products can help. Reusable menstrual hygiene products can help reduce waste in the environment. When you learn about menstrual hygiene, you can have access to wash facilities. It helps women at work, therefore contributing to economic development, and debunk myths and taboos and keep girls and women safe. If you have a proper idea about menstruation and menstrual hygiene, all the taboos in the society, okay, you are not supposed to touch things, you're not supposed to eat a particular food, you're supposed to just sit in a corner. All these taboos, you know about this, and you can educate your peers about it and educate your community about it when you know what menstruation and menstrual hygiene is. And you even during your periods, you can go to school, you can go to work, and you do not have to fall back even in your studies because of during your periods. Why is all this very important? Why is menstruation so important? It can affect all aspects of a girl's life. Girls may miss school during their period due to lack of facilities or supplies. Women may miss work if they don't have the facilities. Participation, especially participation, like sometimes if during your periods, if I'm sure everybody must have gone through this. If you've got a period and a teacher asks you a question, you feel hesitant to stand up and answer the question because you're worried. Will your pad leak? Is there a stain? What if somebody sees the stain behind? So these things make you distracted and less productive during school. That is why using the right kind of product is very important, so that you don't have to worry about this and you can concentrate on playing and even studying in school. So during menstrual hygiene, flow management by using the correct product. General hygiene, taking a bath at least twice a day, cleaning your parts at least twice a day, your private parts during your periods. And whenever you're cleaning your private parts, please say that you're cleaning from front to back and not from back to front, because the bacteria from the rectum and from the anus can come into your vagina and cause infection. Have a balanced diet and maintain an active lifestyle. The simple steps to have a healthy period: change your napkins at least 2 to 3 times a day. Please dry your undergarments under the sun. You do not have to hide them during your periods or even during or any time. So you should not dry them inside so that nobody can see it. They have to be dried under the sun so that they remain clean and free of bacteria. Keep clean and dry, and it's completely fine to talk about it. There is no need to get ashamed about your period. See, women are special. You girls are special. That is the reason you get your periods. Like I told you in your first slide, it's very important because your procreation depends on you, your uterus, and you getting your periods. So please be completely fine talking about it. talking about, even you should be comfortable talking about with your family, your father, your brother, everybody should be very comfortable talking about your periods. Now, what do you mean by menstrual hygiene management in schools? This is very important because since you all are school children and we have teachers on board, what do you mean by menstrual hygiene management in schools? So that there is something which is called as primary intervention and secondary intervention. The primary intervention is every school should have a girl-friendly sanitation facilities. They should have access to menstrual hygiene management supplies like your sanitary napkins. Plus, you should have access to correct disposable facilities. So there should be a dustbin, which is, they should have a toilet. There should be an area to washing the hands in the toilet area. And there should be a dustbin to dispose of. And they should be provided with the products, for example, a newspaper or any envelope to dispose of their sanitary napkins. The secondary intervention is you providing extra products, like keep extra supplies of pads or disposable pads, whatever the girls are using. If you girls want a particular sanitary napkin, you do not want what is available in school in case of an emergency, it is fine. You can talk to your teachers and they are definitely will keep those with them. Training of teachers and health personnel also is very important. Teachers have to know about periods and all the health personnel should know about it. So in case a girl has any problem during periods, for example, pain, then you should know how to handle it. There should be some basic painkillers also in school in case it is required for them. Peer-to-peer education, girls, is very important now, since most of you, a lot of more of you have attended this class, so you know what are periods. So for you, it is important that all the girls who've not attended this class, you should talk to them, make them understand what are periods. If somebody, you've got your periods, your friend has not got the periods, talk to them and explain to them what periods are before they get their periods. So they don't get worried about it. They don't get, once they suddenly see bleeding one fine day, they should not get scared about it. So menstrual hygiene, the government of India also has menstrual hygiene scheme. It aims to impart education on menstrual hygiene management related to training with school girls, school wash facilities. It assures clean wash facilities, good supply of water and soap, safe disposable and used menstrual absorbent, and provision of emergency sanitary napkins. Now, 28th May is celebrated as Menstrual Hygiene Day. Why do we celebrate Menstrual Hygiene Day? I mean, menstruation is something, it's a normal biological phenomena, but why is it so important that we celebrate this day every year on the 20th of May? It's not only celebrated in India, but it's celebrated worldwide. So why do you celebrate it? Because over 336 million girls and women are menstruating in India. Over 121 million are using disposable pads. Only 48% of rural women are using sanitary napkins. 71%, very important, 71% of adolescent girls in India remain unaware of menstruation till the first occurrence of menstruation happens. 9,000 tons, and when you're using your disposable sanitary napkins, we have to think about your environment. There's around 9,000 tons of total waste created. That is why people have come back to your reusable sanitary napkins or cloth or using of a menstrual cup to help the environment. So girls, think about and how can you contribute to your menstrual hygiene day in school? You can have drawing competitions, you can have poster competitions, you can have skits talking about menstruation and talking about menstrual hygiene. And that is the way you will educate your community. And if your girl is educated, you educate your family and you educate the country. So only your sky is your limit. You have the wings. Girls, get ready to fly. Don't let your life come to a standstill because of period pains. Don't let your routine be affected by the fear of stains. There is nothing to be ashamed of. No need to stay out of sight. A little precaution and menstrual hygiene, and things will turn out just right. It's a natural process, a boon, not a bane. So you don't need to dread periods. at the dreaded time of the month again. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Aparna. That was absolutely very elaborate and a meticulous rundown of information, which for the first time, many of the participants who have joined us would have even heard of in such fine detail. In fact, we are overwhelmed with the response. We had 2,500 registrations and 5,000 people have logged into the server and the server has crashed. For the first time, do we celebrate or do we wonder about the popularity of these master classes? We don't know. We are trying to get things in place, but this shows what is the need of the hour. The need is so much that the topic has gone viral and we are overloaded with people wanting to attend your session, Dr. Aparna. So now we invite questions from participants. We have some people out here in Zoom, and some of them have also joined in the platform, which is COWB.exhibitionscloud.com. And if you want to ask a question, for those who are in the Zoom, please raise your hand and then Ms. Pooja will allow you to unmute yourself and ask your question. So I request you to please raise your hand. Yes, we have already many hands. And Pooja, whom do you want to unmute?
I will unmute Pehel Tiwari.
Okay, Pehel, please put on your video and ask your question briefly.
Yes, ma'am. So if it has been like more than a year or almost an year to my period and it still goes irregular, it still does not come at a regular timing, then is it supposed to be a symptom of having like unhealthy period, or is it normal?
See, periods. Hi, Pehel. How old are you?
I'm 12.
Okay. Pehel, usually periods, like you said, you got your periods since a year, so approximately since the age of 11. So initially for the couple of years or sometimes even till the age of 14 to 15, the periods can be irregular. Okay. So initially when you get periods, like I explained to you in the previous slides, it's an interplay between the hormones, your estrogen and your progesterone, and your egg grows. All right. So there's something called as ovulatory cycles and anovulatory cycles where your egg does not grow, it's just a hormonal changes which can occur usually at this age. In those cases, you may get irregular periods which can continue from till you grow maybe till 14, 15 years of age. But that's fine. I don't think you need to really worry about it till you are approximately around 16 years of age. But if you don't get, even after the age of 16, if you don't get periods on time, maybe 3 to 4 monthly, yes, consult a gynae. What is the reason behind it? You may have, it's not only your hormonal imbalance because of periods. You may have other problems. For example, a thyroid problem can also cause a problem in your periods, or any form of a stress. Like you girls must have heard athletes or people during when you're studying for your exam, when you're stressed, you don't get your periods because everything ultimately gets controlled from your brain. Your brain sends in hormonal signals to your ovaries. So that is also one of the reasons you may get irregular cycles.
Okay. And ma'am, I had to ask one more thing. Like when I have my period, if I go downstairs,
We can't hear you.
like maybe run for a while. Ma'am, can you hear me?
Yeah, you need to repeat yourself because we can't hear you. Yeah.
Okay. So like whenever I play down during my period or something, then my stomach starts hurting, and like when I'm running, my stomach starts hurting, and like I can barely walk after that. The pain gets kind of unbearable. So what am I supposed to do at such a situation? Because at that time I'm downstairs, I cannot even run up to my house.
See, the thing is, if you normally get pain during your periods, do you normally get pain during your periods? It's only when you
Yes,
run do you get pain.
I get it normally.
So then, like I said in the slides, that you use a hot water bag, try and massage your tummy. And if when you're running and you get your pain, just sit for some time. Drink a glass of water, relax for some time, or just lie down there, even if you're in the garden, just lie down for some time and try and relax. Your period pain will go down. So it's not that you need to take any painkillers and only then you need to run up to their house.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Aparna. Now I invite Srishti to unmute herself and put her video on and ask your question.
Hi. There is some issue with my camera, so I won't be able to do so. I'm really sorry.
That's fine.
But I just wanted to. It's a curious question. If you're normalizing concepts such as sex, why don't we normalize concepts like the period concept? Because the boys, they feel uncomfortable, right, to talk about this. I don't really get it. But if you're normalizing this, then why not period?
Yeah, that's fine. That's the reason I said education is very important. Like in school, the session has to be for boys and girls. It's not necessarily the girls have to be talked to about periods. For example, when there are ads which are shown on television about sanitary napkins, what happens? You change the channel, because if there's some boy sitting in the room, you quickly change the channel. This should not be done.
Yeah.
So education of the boys is also very important. The way what you're saying is right. Like sex education, you need to educate the boys about the periods. That is why there are some comics which are come up to teach. I mean, schools can buy it for something called as Menstrupedia has come out for the girls to know about periods. And for even for boys, there is a book which is there. Why do you get periods? So even the boys have to understand what periods are. So they also need to be educated. So there has to be a session for boys and girls both.
And there's one small thing. I think most of us face these certain superstitions. It starts from our home itself. Our mothers, they'd be like, you can't go to the temple or XYZ, certain superstitions, and it starts from ourselves. And the way we are, shaped, that's the way we go and present ourselves, and we consider it as a taboo.
Yes, and see what happened. This is temple and all religious sentiments. I do not want to hurt anybody's religious sentiments. If you told don't go to the temple, fine, don't go to the temple. But in olden days, what was happening? The girls, the ladies of the house used to do all the work. And during the periods, those 5 days, they never used to go to the kitchen. For them, they used to consider that as 5 days of rest. So they used to be sitting in one place and they used to get dressed from the normal household work. But what was happening at that time, like they had to just sit secluded in a corner and not eat food and use discarded napkins and discarded cloth and all are wrong things. So what the other things what you're saying is right. Pickles, you can't eat pickles. These are all superstitions which are not right. You can do everything. I will not be able to comment on why you can't go to the temple, but otherwise you can do everything during your period. There's nothing which you should stop. Even you can go swimming. Like there is something which is called as tampons. I think I forgot to mention about tampons. Tampons can be used during your periods, and you can go even swimming during periods. There's nothing which you cannot do.
Yeah.
So education is very important. Educating the community about periods is very important. There is nothing wrong in periods. It's a normal biological phenomena.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shrishti. Now I invite Sarah to unmute herself and ask the question.
Yes, hello everyone. So I have a few things to ask. So first of all, first thing is about irregular periods. So for example, I'm in school and I have irregular periods. And example, one day in a month I have 5 times. Then in another month, for example, not near the date, I have some at the end of the month I have some different time of period, and I'm not wearing the napkin, and if the stain comes, so then that is truly embarrassing. So what should we do in that case?
Hi, Sarah. Like I said in the slide about menstrual hygiene management in schools, there should be always supplies kept in the school. And I'm sure the teachers will have some products available with them, which you can use in case there is a stain when you have irregular periods. And if you have a particular brand which you are used to, you can request your school and your teacher to keep it. Your class teacher will definitely keep it for you. So that's fine. If you get irregular period, there is something always available in school for you.
Okay, so my next question was that, for example, my our uh, undergarment. So, like, if I in my home there's no sunlight barely comes. So, but the undergarments, they're dried in the machine, like dryer, in the dryer. I hope we know what is a dryer. So,
Yes.
is there any problem with that, or is it necessary that it should be dried in the sun only?
No. If you have a dryer, you can dry them in the dryer. It is
Okay.
fine. Yeah. So not everybody has a dryer in their house. So then that is why, I mean, in general, not every, let's say, sorry, most of the population don't have a dryer in the house.
Right.
So we tell them to dry it in the sun.
Okay, and few more things, like, I'm sometimes really stressed and worried about periods that are not happening. So I am truly stressed that what if they don't happen? So some thoughts, like, thoughts, they come in my mind. So what should I do in that case?
See, not coming means if you have history of irregular periods, like you don't get your periods on time, you get it sometimes not every month. Then is there and depending on your age, how old are you, Sarah?
I am 11 years old.
So you're quite young. So if you don't get periods at the age of 11, occasionally don't get them on time, it's fine. It's fine. It's
Okay,
nothing to get worried about. As you grow older, and if it just keeps on happening up, once you've started your first period, what we call as a menarche, and for approximately 3 to 4 years after your menarche, you still have irregular periods, you consult a doctor to know why it happens. That's all about it. I
okay,
don't think you should get stressed about it.
okay. And two more things. Sometimes, if boys are
The
around, so
server is on.
Hmm.
yes, so sometimes around boys, I'm just embarrassed that if periods are happening, and this happens, I think. So I'm sort of embarrassed in front of boys, and I don't know what to do exactly.
That is why we said, no, educating the boys is also important. We should be having a session for both the
Yes,
boys and girls. They should also know what periods are. They should be also knowing what the periods are. So, like, I mean, you are just young, you just have girls in this platform, but we've taken sessions where there are boys and girls together. Both of them are there, so they
yes,
also know what periods, and there are books available for the boys too to understand what the periods are. So, like, even at the age of 10, your boys should be exposed to it. And I'm sure all your biology textbooks will have about your reproductive system and,
yes,
yes, about periods. Like the way they should know about the male, you should know about the male reproductive system. They have to know about the female reproductive system.
okay. And just one more thing, that since I had my first period,
Hmm.
so I noticed this increase of weight. I went to the weighing machine, and my weight was increased a lot than earlier. So is there something like that when you have this
Increase,
puberty,
increase or decreased?
increase in weight?
Increasing.
Yes.
Yes, you put on weight. You put on weight because the body fat also increases and your breast size also increases. Your hips
Okay.
become wider. So you will put on weight. But you should not be just putting on weight, too much of weight. So what you need to is a healthy lifestyle. You need to eat healthy also. Plus you need to exercise. Whatever games you like to play, you should play also. So then
Okay.
you will not put on too much of weight. But some amount of weight gain is definitely required. Because ultimately, what is the aim of the uterus when you grow older is ultimately a pregnancy when you get
Yes.
married. So that is the reason a certain amount of body weight is essential. So
Okay.
okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Sarah, for asking
Sarah,
such very specific questions. Now I invite Nivedita to unmute herself and ask the question.
Yes, ma'am. I am almost 12 years old now, so is it okay if I still haven't got my periods yet?
hi Nivedita. Yes, it's fine if you've not yet got your periods. Uh, you should be waiting for a couple of years more max. If you've not got your periods, we need to investigate. Plus, we need to look at your body composition. If you're very thin, also that is also one of the reasons why you don't get your periods. Secondly, if there is a family history, if your mother also has got periods late, that is also one of the reasons why you may get your periods late. So if by age of 14 you've not got your periods,
Sorry, ma'am. Your voice broke in the middle.
Yeah, she's coming back. She just seems
Yeah.
to have a network problem. Yeah.
If you don't get your periods for 2 more years, Nivedita, you need to consult a doctor.
Okay. I also wanted to ask, will something happen if you don't have those pads when you're having periods?
Something happens means pad is just a method of collecting the blood flow. It will stain your clothes, nothing else will happen.
Okay.
It will stain your underwear, it will stain your school uniform. So
Okay.
pad is used to just to put in your underwear just to collect the blood flow. Nothing else.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay?
Thank you so much, and thank you, Dr. Aparna, for such a patient and a sweet answer. Now I invite Mehul to unmute herself and ask the question.
Good morning, sorry, good afternoon, ma'am. Actually, ma'am, my name is Avika. The name got that. So, ma'am, I just had one doubt. Right now, around yesterday only, I got some spotting. So, is that normal before my periods have not started? But is that normal before periods?
Yes, sometimes you can get spotting for maybe a day or two also before you get your regular flow. And see, like if it just continues all the time, you need to see a doctor. But occasionally, if you just get spotting for a couple of days and then your regular cycle, it's fine. Nothing to get too worried about it.
Okay. And ma'am, one question.
Yeah.
That ma'am, if like I asked my mother for how many days does it happen, so she told for 5 days it happens. So then, if it happened in the second week of February, so in March also second week only it will happen.
Yeah, approximately. Approximately a menstrual cycle is for 28 to 30 days. So like I said, for some girls, every 25 days they get their periods. For some, a regular cycle is every 35 days. So that's fine. It's not necessarily 28 days. It all depends on your body constitution also. And it's not necessarily that you have to bleed for 5 days. It's fine to bleed for even 2 to 3 days, as long as you're getting a flow. If you don't get any flow, you just get any spotting where you don't need to take a pad, then we need to find out why you're bleeding less. Okay? Are you clear about it?
Yeah. Thank you. Next, I ask Myrin Singh to unmute yourself and ask the question.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, so I got my first period for like 12 to 13 days. So I wanted to ask if that's normal.
Yes, it is normal, Mary. The first period can be heavy occasionally, and you may get it for a longer time. There are some girls who may bleed even for a month, but that's fine. Unless you bleed too much that your hemoglobin goes down and you become anemic, we do not interfere by giving tablets. But if it's okay for 7 to 10 days, it's fine. Nothing to get worried about.
Thank you. Next, I ask Gargi Singh to unmute herself and ask the question.
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, Gargi.
I have two questions. That since I have got my first period, I have started to notice that when I have my period, I get backache and is it normal? I mean, yeah, ma'am. Is it normal to get?
Yes. Well, yeah, like I mentioned, premenstrual syndrome. So before you get your periods, when you have these hormonal changes, these are the signs you may get. You may get an increase in your vaginal discharge. You may get a backache. So these are the signs that you may be getting your periods.
Yeah, ma'am.
So that's normal. And if it is if your pain during backache and your pain increases during your periods, which you are not okay with the regular home remedies and you need to take multiple painkillers throughout the day, then you need investigations. Why do you get so much of pain? Because there are some gynecological conditions, for example, which is called as endometriosis, why you can get too much of pain and backache. So it all depends on how much pain you have.
Yeah, ma'am. Ma'am, and the second question is, ma'am, how is virginity linked to periods?
Virginity is not linked to periods.
Okay, ma'am. No,
the hymen is at the introitus. So virginity is not linked to periods. You get your periods. Okay. Yeah, so virginity is definitely not linked to periods.
Yeah, because I seen many videos that it gets linked in videos. So I just had a doubt. Is it linked with period.
No, I'd like to see the videos where they link it to periods.
No, no,
There are
ma'am.
wrong concepts which they are just putting in the videos.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Ma'am, your voice is stuck.
Any
Your
more
screen
questions?
is stuck.
Okay, I was
No, ma'am.
saying that it is very interesting to see how a wrong information can add to the
Yes.
confusion to the existing young girls and boys who are already in a state of many confused questions with them. Now I request Aditi to unmute herself and ask the question.
Yes. So, my mom or other people, they always suggest to not eat food like nuts and papaya and many foods. So, is that true? Like, is it something that can harm my body or?
Hi Aditi, there is nothing papayas or do not harm your body. You can have, they consider it as heaty. I do not know the reason why they consider
Or
it heaty.
they say that eating more nuts make you bleed heavier.
No, no. These are all wrong notions. Nothing, there is no food which makes you bleed heavier. You can have whatever you want during your periods. There is nothing which you need to
No,
whatever.
like even before periods, like they
Yes,
suggest to
yes.
not eat these things.
I do not know why they have told you. From my side, you can eat everything during your periods and before your periods.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Ma'am,
Okay,
your screen.
so there is
Ma'am, it's already done.
there's a question from a parent who says that her daughter got her periods around 15 years and she had regular periods for almost 2 years and now it has become irregular. So what should she be doing about it?
We need to check whether she's put on weight. Initially, if the periods are regular and they become irregular, one thing is if she is put on a lot of weight, that is one of the reasons why irregular periods can happen. Second thing is in case she's got a thyroid imbalance. A thyroid hormonal imbalance can cause irregular cycles. And if all this is not there, then we need to just check out the reason why she's got irregular periods. Any form of a stress also, physical stress, mental stress can also cause periods. And there is something which is called as a prolactin hormone, which can raise, which causes this problem. And this hormonal problem, I'm seeing it very frequently nowadays because children are up till maybe 2 3 a.m. working on the computers or your mobile or very odd hours, and they don't have a particular time of sleeping and getting up. So these hormonal imbalances are seen much more in students nowadays, and that also causes irregular cycles.
Okay, thank you so much. Next, I would ask Premjeet to unmute herself and ask the question.
Okay, I have two doubts. The first doubt is when we go to the shop to buy sanitary napkins, how should we know that they are sanitary and they're clean?
Pardon, I didn't get you. How do you know?
That the product is sanitary and they're clean and not like dirty. How
So
should
it
we
will be
know?
in a packet. Now the sanitary napkins won't be loose. So if you're buying a sanitary napkin, you won't get a loose napkin. You just can't get one napkin. It will be a pack, and those sanitary napkins will be inside the pack. And if you buy whatever brands are usually used, they are pretty okay about it.
And I could not understand what do we mean by like irregular periods.
Uh, you must have heard when I mentioned about menstrual cycle. Okay, so when you get your period, when the first day of period is called, when you get your periods, it's called first day of the period, day one of periods. Okay, so you bleed for 5 days, and then the hormonal changes start occurring, and after 28 days, you get your second period. So this is which is called as a menstrual cycle. So it occurs regularly every 28 days. Now, if it does not happen every 28 days, it happens maybe of sometimes 30 days later, sometimes 35, sometimes 40, sometimes 60 days later. It is called as an irregular period. So it does not occur in a regular manner. That is what it means by an irregular periods. Understood?
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Next, I would ask Sanvi to unmute herself and ask a question.
Okay, miss. Good afternoon, miss. I had two questions. First, that when I went to the shop a couple of days earlier, they gave me this in a packet that
Wrap.
Yeah, some rap. Why do they do that?
I don't know. That's what not that is the reason I keep on telling you education is very important. Education of the community is very important. They give you a package and wrap it up in a newspaper and put it in a black plastic bag as if
Yes.
it's a big taboo. I do not know why they use it. That's the reason educating the community, education the boys is also very important. So you should
Okay.
tell the shopkeeper, I'm okay about periods. Why are you giving me wrap in a newspaper? I do not want a newspaper. So you should be the one to start something and tell them.
Okay.
I'm fine on talking about it. I'm fine holding it in my hand and going. It's okay.
Okay.
There's nothing.
And like second question was sometimes like so I've been told that you should not keep it for more than 3-4 hours, like a sanitary napkin. Why? Like, is this harmful or is this?
Yes. You should be changing your sanitary napkins every 3 to 4 hours because ultimately what does the product do? It collects blood. And the
Yes.
sanitary napkin remains wet. All right. So when there is wetness, it causes infection. Okay.
Okay.
And like if you're all the time having something wet inside your underwear, won't you feel uncomfortable? Every time you sit, every time you have something which you feel very wet inside, and it
Yes.
causes fungal infection. So that is the reason you need to change it every 3 to 4 hours. So and you have to keep the area dry and clean. Wetness causes fungal infection. That's the reason for changing it every 3 to 4 hours.
Okay. And in the night, I wear these like like for
Extra
the
long.
whole night. Yes.
Yeah.
For the 8 hours or something like that.
Yes. So that's
So
fine.
that's fine, right?
That's fine. Because see, unless you are bleeding too much, that you need to know that you're going to get up in the middle of the night, you need to change your pad. Wearing something an extra long one in the night is fine.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, we have two to three important questions in the chat. The first question is, can a 13-year-old use a menstrual cup?
You get an extra small size for a menstrual cup, but for a 13-year-old, sometimes it is difficult for them to put it in. There's no harm in using it because it all depends on how comfortable they are putting in the menstrual cup in your private parts. So if the menstrual cup is something like this, this is a small size, extra small one is smaller than this. You have to make a fold out of it, pinch it in and putting in. There is no harm in putting if the girl is comfortable about it. It
Okay.
all depends on there is a technique of putting it in. There are videos which are available on YouTube to understand how to use a menstrual cup. And it's fine if you want to put it, you can go ahead and do it.
Okay. Does dark chocolate help in reducing menstrual cramps and the pain?
This is something new for me. It may help. I have no idea. I'll need to read about it.
It's fun, but you'll put on more weight. And as it is in this stage, yeah, you'll have
one chocolate will not put on weight, no? You're not going to have a
yeah,
chocolate
unless you eat the whole packet. Yeah. Okay. So there are more questions. So let me take this question where the parent is asking that what will happen if my daughter doesn't get periods at all? She's 17 years old already.
She needs to be investigated. If she's not got a periods at all, we need to do hormonal investigations, and she needs a battery of investigations. Go to your gynac and get her investigated. I mean, it's difficult for me to tell you everything right now. It's a complete different session on its own. But yes, please go and consult a gynac.
Yeah, yeah. And now I request Gia to unmute herself and ask the question.
I wanted to ask, a few people say, like usually old people say, that once the period starts, height stops growing. Is that true?
Yes, it does not stop growing, but that means because the hormone estrogen is known to cause a ossification of what is called as the bones at the growing ends. So you are not going to grow much more after you attained your puberty and getting your periods. But exercises after that also can help in growing, but not too much.
Okay.
And there is always something called genetics. I mean, if your parents are not very tall, you cannot be very tall. So you need to be sort of realistic about it also. You can't be 6 foot taller when your parents are just 5 feet tall. So think of genetics. There's something called genetics also.
Okay. Next, I ask Alia to unmute herself and ask the question.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yeah.
My doubt
Can you please be a little louder?
Ma'am, my sister has PCOD. She gets a lot of stress and a lot of like she is unable to study as she is writing the test of NEET. And so, can you give me some useful tips which I can tell her to help?
Alia, PCOD is a different topic by itself. PCOD basically means your ovaries are not ovulating regularly, you're not growing your follicles on time, and the hormonal changes which normally supposed to happen is not happening. But PCOS is not the reason for stress. Okay, PCOS will cause you irregular periods and it may cause other problems later, but it definitely does not cause stress. So I don't think she needs to be stressed out about PCO because it's pretty common and there are medications for it for whatever and treatments are there at every stage of life whenever you've been diagnosed. But that should not cause us stress and for writing exams definitely.
Ma'am,
Yeah.
Ma'am, my
if we eat
sister went,
anything, nothing is gonna happen.
If you eat what?
If you eat any kind of food.
Nothing won't happen.
Ma'am, actually my sister went to the doctor. The doctor said that she's getting the change of hormone. So,
I can't hear you.
ma'am, actually my sister went to the doctor.
Yeah.
The doctor said that she has the change of imbalance
Yeah, so
hormone.
yes. So at right now, she's got a hormonal imbalance, but right now, what is more important for her is appearing for her exams. So I think she just doesn't worry about these hormonal imbalances right now. Finish her exams, and then we look into what to do about the hormonal imbalance. Not to get too stressed about it right now. There are so many remedies available right now for everything.
Ma'am, like she for small things gets stressed. She
Yeah, so
forgets
she must be a
things.
person who gets stressed by very small things. So she needs to learn to relax and meditate. And here I think Sachu will help her do it very well compared to me.
Thank you. Thank
Sachu
you.
will, yes.
So
Thank you, ma'am.
also have exams and then PCOD or some or a medical condition that's not an emergency can always wait for a month, finish the exams and be relaxed and then address the problem, not take up too many stressful issues right now. Okay, so next I would ask Vibha to ask her question. Unmute yourself and ask your question, please.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, and I have only actually one question. So, as you said, like we should change sanitary pads in 3 to 4 hours. So, in what about like when we sleep? Pads.
Yeah, so when you sleep, if you have too much of flow in the first day, you need to get up in the middle of the night and change your pad if required, and you ask your mother to wake you up. You need to do it, or otherwise, when you sleep, you get these extra long pads, which can be used so that you don't stain your clothes. Or you can wear double pads. Like if you have a, for example, if you have a pad, you can use one pad on the underwear, and you have one more behind. So it becomes a long pad, which will absorb the water better. And if you feel that when you sleep, your underwear also your pad moves and you may stain it, you wear a double underwear. Wear something on top of the underwear which has a pad, so it will keep it securely in place. Okay, Vibha?
Okay, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Now I ask Savika to unmute herself and ask the question. Savika, ready?
Ma'am, it's actually Satvika. Ma'am, I had a question. I had two questions actually. That how many days can the reusable pad be used for?
See, reusable pad, you can use it at least for a year, definitely.
Okay,
Okay.
ma'am.
Yeah, after that, I think it is better because you should just change it. And if you feel that the stains, menstrual blood stains, which you are cleaning, if it doesn't go away, see, every time you get the reusable pads, also when you're cleaning it, please do not put any Dettol or any disinfectant. Just clean it with soap and water
Okay, ma'am.
and dry it in the sun. But if you feel the stains are not going away or the cloth is looking dirty, please change it. I mean, it's going to be much cheaper than your regular sanitary napkin, but it all depends on how much of the flow and how you wash your cloth and how you keep it clean. That also matters.
Yeah, ma'am. And my second question was that which sanitary pad would you suggest?
See, any pad which has a cotton cover, that is very important. Sanitary napkins, like you have those gel forms which helps in collecting the flow and leak proof and not. Sometimes it is known to cause rashes. So where use a sanitary pad which has a cotton cover, that is very important, because ultimately your vaginal skin and your perineal skin is very tender. So all these nylon covers sometimes can cause irritation and cause rashes. So use something which is soft. And nowadays you get even biodegradable sanitary napkins in the market. There is so many products available. Choose something very wisely and use something which you are comfortable with and you do not get any rashes. That is very important.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I ask Tanushri to unmute herself and ask the question.
Yes, ma'am. So I have three doubts. One is I really get very bad cramps. So what do you suggest for that?
Oh, if the home remedies are not working, like using a hot water bag or massaging or having some ginger tea or something, then maybe a painkiller will be required. If in spite of painkillers your period cramps are too much, I mean you can't get up from bed, you need to miss school, then consult a doctor. We need to investigate why you're getting so much of pain. Because
Okay.
there are different painkillers available and everybody has a different threshold of pain. That is also very important to understand. For some people, they can tolerate any form of a pain. Some girls, even with the slightest pain, will be very uncomfortable. So it all depends on the threshold of pain also of every girl.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, and when I get my periods, I feel really weak and I'm not able to focus on my studies than my normal days. So, what do you suggest for those?
See, basically, I understand that when you get your periods, you feel very bloaty and all these, the premenstrual symptoms you spoke about. It makes you feel like just lying down, doing nothing about it. But sometimes it's okay. See, if you really need to have study, if you have an exam, then yes, you take a warm water bath, drink a lot of water, just go for a walk and you'll feel better. It will help in elevating your mood and you'll feel like studying. But if you feel that yes, you can laze around, there's nothing specific, you don't take a break. It's okay, it doesn't matter. You don't want to do anything one day, just chill and watch television. That's fine.
Oh, okay, ma'am. Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, that's very important for parents. There are many parents who have also logged in along with their children. See, nothing is going to go out of control just by allowing your daughter to rest for those 2 to 3 heavy days where the child is facing pain or is not able to focus. It's fine. Have a big picture, relax, and often parents pass on their anxiety to children. So, as a mental health professional, I would say parents, calm down. Don't pass on your anxiety to children. If they want to rest, allow them to rest. It's fine in once in a while. If every time perfection is not the goal, it can be caught up, and your girls are growing up and they will catch up. Okay, so let me ask Maitreyi to unmute herself and ask a question.
Yes. Ma'am, during when I get my period, before a few days, I tend to have a lot of discharge. Is that normal?
Yeah, vaginal discharge can happen like the way you have salivary glands in your mouth. It is a function of secreting saliva, correct? The same way you have something which are called cervical glands and vaginal glands. So during your periods, there is the blood circulation to these areas increase. So the amount of discharge from it's a discharge from the glands. It can increase. So the getting a vaginal discharge before your periods is normal, provided it is clear. If your vaginal discharge is smelling, and if it is a different altered color, then maybe there is some form of an infection. You need to check out what is the kind of discharge which you're having. If it's staining your underclothes, it is too much of discharge, or it is like whitish, curly like discharge, or even something yellowish, that may indicate an infection. But transparent discharge, it's fine, it's normal.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I have a question on the chat. During periods and while using sanitary pads, what if we get rashes? How do we deal with these rashes in those private parts?
Changing your pad more frequently, because wetness is something which causes rashes. So please see that you change your pad more frequently. And if you're getting rashes with a particular kind of pad, change the brand and see if it is a nylon color, which I told you. Change the brand and see, and use something which is very soft and tender to your skin. And take a bath. Very important is during your periods also, keep your area clean and dry. Take a bath, and please do not use any of these vaginal washes which are available in the market. It changes the pH and causes more infection. Just plain soap and water is fine. Keep the area clean and dry, then you will not get rashes. And if it's in spite of that, if you get too much of itching and all that, maybe you need to see a doctor in case there is any infection.
Okay, so next I would ask Adrika to unmute herself and ask the question.
Ma'am, why do we get mood swings?
Okay, because you're special. All right, that's the first thing, and it's fine to get mood swings. uh, like I've told you in the first slide, estrogen and progesterone, these hormones. So these hormones, the changes causes are very important for functioning of every part of your body, or even your heart, even your bones, your menstruation, your periods. Your hormones are very important for that, and it is very important for these hormones are very important for your brain working and for cognition also. So mood swings are because of these hormonal changes which occur, and for some, the changes, even a slightest change causes a problem. For some, they don't have any mood swings. Like for example, these mood swings are seen like you must, if you are around 14, 15, you have mood swings, and your mother is around 50, when she's the other side of getting stopping her periods, both of you have mood swings. So then it's chaos in the house, because even she has a changing or hormonal imbalances going on. You also have at the initial thing, and that's the reason for your mood swings.
Ma'am, ma'am,
Yeah.
ma'am, I want to ask that what is PMS? I didn't understand.
PMS is premenstrual syndrome, so the time before your periods. Now, suppose you're going to get your periods on the 5th of February. Before 5th of February, approximately sometimes from 28th of January till you get your period 5th of February, you may get problems like breast pain, mood swings, feeling very bloated. So this time, and headaches. So this time period just before your periods is called as premenstrual syndrome, where you have these problems. That is called as PMS.
Okay.
Understood? Yeah.
Miss?
Yeah.
Ma'am, actually,
Just hold on, girls. Let me ask the person to unmute. Can I ask Durva to unmute herself and ask the question?
Ma'am, I actually have two questions. The first question is that is it normal to get discharge after the periods? Because I get it most of the time. So
Yeah, it is normal to get discharge after your periods also, but it has to be a clear discharge. Like I said, if the discharge is whitish, staining your underclothes, associated with itching, or it is foul smelling, then we need to check whether it is an infection.
okay, and I've seen that they say that we have mood swings and we crave a lot of food when
Yes.
we are on our periods. So is it
It's
real?
normal. It is normal. It's all because of a hormonal changes which happens during your periods, before your periods. So it is normal to get mood swings, and it is normal to crave for food. That's fine.
Okay, we are going to have the last two questions of the session. I would ask Vidhi to unmute herself and ask, followed by Prisha. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. I had a doubt. What if we never get our periods? Like, is it important to have it?
No, I didn't understand your question. Can you please repeat it?
Okay, yeah. So I want to never get
Not clear.
periods, like never. I'm asking what if we never get periods? Like, never. It happened to us.
You are not clear, Vidhi.
Ma'am,
So her
she's
question
saying
is, what if she never gets her period? Is it important to get periods?
Yeah, if you have a hormonal problem or you have a structural problem in your uterus, you will not get your periods. And there are some genetic problems which are called as Turner syndrome, which with the girls do not get their periods at all. So there are problems with genetic problems which you don't get your periods, or anomalies. So there are sometimes girls born without a uterus. You will not get your periods. Okay. And if you're okay about it, then it's fine. But along with not getting your periods, you may have other problems also. So getting periods is one of the things. So you may have other problems along with that also.
Okay. I also wanted to ask, like, what is the importance of it? Like, what are the benefits? Like, what happens
Benefits of what?
of getting periods? Like, what? Like,
See, it's a
what's the
natural biological process. See, periods is a natural biological process. There is no benefit. That is a way a female has been made. That is a female reproductive system. Okay. As you grow older, there is going to be a hormonal changes, and these changes are going to act on the uterus, and it causes a bleeding every month. Okay. So it is a natural biological process. There are no benefits or side effects. All right. It's a biological process of you focus. These hormones are required for your growing up, for you to blossom into a young lady. Or even for all your functions, for your breast size to be increased, you getting your pubic hair, your axillary hair, for growing your height. These hormones are very important. So if these hormonal changes don't occur, you will not get, and if you don't get your periods because of these hormonal changes, you're going to have problems. Like if you don't have your ovaries or don't have, these girls are short stature, they don't have other problems also. It's not necessarily only don't getting your periods. They're associated with other problems too. Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Can I ask Prisha to ask her question, please?
Yeah, ma'am. Hi, ma'am. I'm Krishna. I'm 11 years old. Actually, I haven't got my period yet, but how do I know that I will get it really soon? When is the right time to get it?
There is no right time. You will get it when your body is ready for you get your periods. Okay. So before you get your period, the other changes in your body are there, like development of the breast bud. You get hair which is there in the armpits, in your pubic area. You are growing, your hips are becoming a bit wider. So if all these changes have started happening, then you will get your periods. All right. And you're just 11. So sometimes maybe you get it even a year, wait for a couple of years and see whether other changes have happened and still you don't get your periods. Then you need to consult a doctor.
Ma'am, thank you, ma'am.
Miss?
Okay.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Girls, I know you all have a lot of questions, but
Can
the
I ask?
doctor has been with us for almost 1.5 hours since 3 o'clock, and I really have to wind up the session. And it is absolutely overwhelming that we had all of you unmuting yourself, putting your video on, and asking the questions. And we know we are flooded with these questions. I promise you that from Center of Wellbeing, we'll host another meeting also, another repeat of the same topic, maybe after a gap of a few months. But if you have more questions, please write your questions to lighthouse-learning.com, and we would definitely answer your questions. So I'm repeating the email ID. It is studentwellbeing@lighthouse-learning.com, and we'll pass it on to the doctor, and maybe if it's an extremely technical question she will answer, otherwise we would definitely answer questions. So I take this opportunity to really thank Dr. Aparna Padgaonkar, who is, with her calm demeanor and literally taken every question and answered it so fantastically. And I'm sure many of you who joined us, in fact, we have almost 5,000 people who have joined us across the platform, across YouTube, and also on Zoom. And it has been a fantastic session. And it only shows how much more the journey is on. And I really need to request Dr. Aparna to come back and do another session, because it's never complete now. We have just opened the Pandora box, and the box seems to be too huge and big. We have really let they say the Pandora box is open, and now we have to deal with the many queries that we have. I really thank Dr. Aparna Padgaonkar from the depth of my heart on behalf of Lighthouse Learning, Euro School, Billabong High International School, Cambridge Public School, and Centrepoint Schools, and all the other associated brands. And we have had people join in from across the country, north, south, west, east. And Dr. Aparna, you have really so beautifully brought out 3 to 4 main points. That it is never late to ask your questions to your parents or to your trusted circle. If you are having irregular periods, do not get so anxious. Inform your teacher. Your teacher may be always having a spare pad and she can always support you. Most of the schools, we have also installed incinerators which take care of the disposable process of the used pads. So you girls must also familiarize yourself with that. You also have a nurse and a sick bay. So your nurse is also a very good go-to point to ask your doubts about your periods and your menstrual cycle, if just in case you don't want to open up to your teachers. And initially she mentioned that you may have irregular periods, but if the irregularity is becoming too much, even after 3 to 4 years of you getting the periods and the menstrual cycle onset, please consult your doctor. Yes, you might have an increase in weight in the initial periods as your puberty hits, and that is normal, but you should also be careful about not overeating, and resting and stress and de-stressing is very important. And do not get stressed about periods. Okay, the most important point that she brought out is it's nothing to hide, it's nothing of a taboo, it's a normal biological process. Just like how you girls attain puberty, the boys also attain puberty, and they also go through the biological changes. And for the boys, we'll hold a session next week. And the most important thing she said was there's nothing to hide. You don't need to feel embarrassed. There are so much out in the market. If you have a problem, consult a gynecologist, or you could go to a lady doctor whom your family consults. And also remember that you need to frequently change, maintain dryness of your private parts, and ensure that you don't catch an infection. And also hygiene is most important. The main reason why we conducted this session was to also bring home the message that hygiene is most important. Thank you, Dr. Aparna, for being with us for this 1.5 hours. I request you to give your final words.
Just a minute. Could you please send the information I sent to you in the chat box to Dr. Aparna?
Yes, I would do that. I would definitely do that.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Miss, even I have sent you.
Yes, we have copied everything, every question that has been put in the chat, and we will respond back. I hope you have put the school name, because otherwise I will not respond back. Or put the question to the email so that I can respond back to your email.
Can you please send the email in the chat?
So it is student wellbeing at the rate of lighthouse-learning.com. Because if you have not given me your school name, how would I get back to you? Okay, so the best would be send an email. Okay.
Can you post that on the chat?
Yes, we post that on the chat. Pooja or Jayashree, could you please post the student well-being?
I also have one more down. That is it true if we eat like hot food, if we get some relief?
No, not really. No, that's not the truth.
Excuse me, ma'am. It's just a quick doubt. Ma'am, my periods just started like 5 days ago and it's still going on, and I'm having stomach pains. Ma'am, so how long will it go?
So usually it goes off by the 6th or the 7th day, but if it's extending beyond 7th day, and if it is not your first or second period, then you need to contact the doctor. If it's your first period of your menstrual cycle, first 2 to 3 times you will get it up to 7 days, and that is fine.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. I am very happy that you all joined in and had so many questions. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.